On today's show, we're going to talk about preseason all Big 12, and I'm going to give you the list of players that you need to know as we head into this college football season. We also going to talk about Nebraska, the Cornhuskers. I've been waiting to talk about y'all all off season. However, y'all have a clear path for success in 2025 year of our Lord, and I'm going to describe it and break it down to you. Also, we're going to talk about Georgia State and some big things in the works that I'm going to be sharing with you in the show, and then also discussing their running back room, which is going to be filthy in 2025. And last but not least, we're going to talk about the FCS polls on today's episode. If you was looking for your latest plug and everything that you needed to know in the college football world, look no further, my friend. It's college football season. Let's turn up. It's your boy Moon, and this is the world of CFB. Let's get it, baby. It's your boy Moon, nationally credentialed media member of the CFB Nation, host of World of College Football, a college football traveler, explorer, and a friend of many mascots all around the nation. I mean, they know me. You know what I'm saying? It's your boy Moon. Welcome to the show where we like to cover and spotlight everybody in the college football ecosystem, because on this show, everybody has a platform in order to be heard. And then this college football season is getting kicked off week 0. This is a game week, baby. This is a game week. I'm excited. You should be too. And if you are casual, go check out the other episodes in the vault. If you are a person that's listening via podcast, audio only, hey, what's up? How you doing? It's nice to see you again. Happy Monday. If you're watching video, hey, appreciate you tuning in. And special shout out to our sponsors, CFB Nation. They're going to take care of you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit that like button. Run it up. And also, special shout out to our sponsors, Bet US, and also Bull Rush. On today's show, it's going to be jam-packed. Let's get to it, because ain't nothing to it but to do it. On today's World of College Football, on August the 18th, 2025, year of our Lord, we're going to get into some jam-packed action, but it does not start without me telling you about the Big 12, a conference that's loaded from top to bottom, bottom to top. No matter how you slice it, dice it, stack it, flip it, twist it, no matter how you look at it, the Big 12 Conference is going to shape the college football season of 2025. And while everybody else is giving you their predictions on who's going to win the conference without any merit or any really facts to back it up, I'm going to tell you about some of the players that you need to pay attention to in this conference, because it is loaded with potential and just oozing with star power. So let's get into it. This is the world of CFB. On today's show, we're going to bring nothing but high energy and vibes. I'm your boy Moon, traveler of the college football world. And we're going to start it off first in the Big 12 Conference, where it's a proving ground for the displaced people, the dominant, the dudes that make Saturdays look like Sundays. We're going to talk about them because it stretches all the way from Tempe, Arizona, all the way out to Provo, Utah, from Ames, Iowa, all the way to Orlando, Florida. A patchwork of football tradition is all the way there for us to embody and embrace this year. The elevation that we're going to see in the Big 12 Conference is going to be one for the ages in 2025. And the swagger is going to be center stage starting in week 0 in Dublin, Ireland. Fresh blood, fresh new faces, and new teams ready to snatch the reins of the championship away from the contenders and show up, because this conference belongs to the stars, the ones who refuse to dim their light no matter how big that the moment became. I scouted every yard, tracked every tackle, charted every damn near flash of brilliance that I could find from last season to give you the ultimate list of players that you need to look out for in 2025, year of our Lord. And this is going to be your blueprint, things that you need to know heading into 2025. So let's get down to it. The player featured on your screen is none other than Offensive Player of the Year candidate, QB1 on this list of preseason All-Big 12, quarterback 1, Sam Leavitt, Arizona State. The freshman who dared to play like a senior. Now, when you look at the grand story of this 20 years down the road, it wasn't supposed to be like this. Tippy wasn't supposed to belong to Sam Levitt this early. I mean, he was supposed to come in, wait a little bit, get his bearings amongst him. Instead, by the time that the season was over and before he even grew some facial hair, he was one of the best freshman quarterbacks in the entire country, and it was all rooted in his production. His production was outclassing upperclassmen that are in the same conference, and they couldn't even rival it. He didn't just break Arizona State records. He broke expectations for a program that said we're about to leap all the way to the finish line in 2025. We're going to win the conference in dramatic fashion, and we're going to take our talents all the way to the college football playoff. 3,328 yards of total offense, more than any freshman in Sun Devil history. That's a fact. He threw for 2,885 yards of that, and the second most ever by a freshman at Arizona State. And he did it while navigating pressure. That's a fact. Did it while having some growing pains because he lost his top receiver. That's a fact. And then he had to endure the weekly grind of what is the Big 12 defenses that underestimated him for a lot of the stretch. And then by the time they tried to get their bearings amongst them, it was already too late. Only Jalen Daniels in 2019 had more 50-yard plus throws in a single season at Arizona State. And Sam Levitt, he added 8 deep bombs, and that tied for the second most in the entire FBS in 2024. But when you talk about lighting up scoreboards, he didn't just do that. He protected possessions. He only had 5 turnover-worthy throws all year long, and that's the sample size of 300 dropbacks. Only 6 interceptions in total. And among FBS quarterbacks that with that kind of workload and sample size, only 3 others matched his combo of 20 plus touchdowns, where Sam Levitt had 24, 6 fewer interceptions, and he had 6, and then 6 turnover worthy plays. Okay, Moon, I hear you, bro. I hear you, but I'm still not impressed. All right, well, what if I told you that Sam Levitt finished with the 88.9 PFF grade, the second highest of any freshman in the entire country? It was only behind the one that gets all the praise and the accolades, Mr. Jeremiah Smith, the one that we love to talk about, but he was right behind him at Ohio State. That number made him the 8th highest graded freshman quarterback in PFF era. I got chills saying that. His season was one for the ages, bro. When you talk about the pocket collapsing, he know how to use his wheels. He knows how to get out of a jam. He knows how to escape pressure and not get caught. He did it over and time again. He ranked 19th nationally in passing yards under pressure with 708 of those things, averaging 7.9 yards per attempt. Crazy work. And that is why he was pressured. The 12th best in the country, that mark. He threw 5 touchdowns under duress, and his NFL QBR under pressure, 74.8. When you talk about contact, he survived it, and he made defenses pay for chasing him. He had 51 scrambles in 2024, ran for 435 yards, the second most out of all FBS quarterbacks, and he picked up a first down or a touchdown on 47% of those runs. That was good for 11th nationally, bro. 11th. A 76.4 rushing grade on scrambles. That was top 6 in America. And then when the moment started to get heavy, he got surgical. I'm talking about a 3 touchdown, no pick performance against Oklahoma State. I'm talking about 4 total touchdowns and a game winner in the final minute against Kansas and the Jayhawks. Rock chalk. Somebody finished the rest. 300 plus yards in the debut versus Wyoming. 3 straight games of 3 plus touchdowns and no interceptions. The first Arizona State quarterback outside of Jalen Daniels to accomplish that feat. And that was all the way back in 2019, year of our Lord. By the end of the year, Sam Levitt had earned Big 12 Freshman of the Year, 3 Big 12 Newcomer of the Year of the Week honors, I should say, and he had solidified his place in Arizona State history. It's inevitable, but here's the truth and the scary part. Sam Levitt might only still be scratching the surface of what is to come in this year. Now, he's my QB1, and he got the nod for Offensive Player of the Year and QB1 in this preseason poll. Now let's talk about running back 1. We got to take our talents out to Waco, Texas, and talk about a kid who burned through the map and burned through defenses all year long last year. If you like fireworks, like 4th of July, I mean, you would absolutely love this kid, and I'm about to talk to you about a kid that finished with 1,028 rushing yards in 11 games. Sheesh. Best freshman rushing season Baylor has ever seen. He rewrote the script of what a young running back should look like, could look like, and could be in Waco. We talk about the next guy on our list, none other than Bryson Washington. He might have started off slow, missed the first 2 games of the season. I know. It's sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles. However, during the 4 game closing stretch where it absolutely needed him to show up the most, at the end of the regular season, he ripped off 624 total rushing yards, 10 touchdowns, and averaged 5.9 yards a carry. 6 100-yard games in total, the most ever by a Baylor freshman. And he did it all while splitting receiving work with 22 catches for 217 yards. And when Baylor needed a star, Bryson Washington took over 218 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns versus TCU. Ask the Horny Frogs how they feel about this kid. 123 yards and 3 touchdowns versus West Virginia. Oh, did I forget the game against Kansas where he had 192 yards and 2 total scores versus the Kansas Jayhawks? Rock chalk. Somebody finished the rest. It's college football season. It's chanting season. You got to finish it, man. By the end of the year, Bryson Washington just rewrote what it looks like to be a Baylor running back, and he shattered Richard Reese's freshman record and landed him on the freshman All-America list. And this is from the Athletic, from the FWAA. He was third in school history for freshman rushing touchdowns with 12, and his 5.9 yards per carry ranked top 3 for any freshman ever in Waco, Texas. You don't replace this kind of back. You just hope that you can get 2 years out of him before the NFL draft calls or the transfer portal calls and tells him what's going on. Look, he said that's not how you say Sawyer Robertson. I know. He's probably quarterback 2 on his list. Coming up next on the show, let's take a trip to West Virginia and talk about a kid by the name of Jaheim White, the undersized anomaly who keeps running over and over again. At 5'7", 195 pounds, Jaheim White doesn't look like a traditional bell cow type of running back that you would see if you just look after his frame. But when you see the tape, he runs like he's 6'2", 230 pounds, just relentless, violent, slippery. He makes every defender have to debate how they gonna bring him down to the ground. His 2024 season, 844 rushing yards, 7 total touchdowns, bro. 19 receptions for another 122 yards and a touchdown with it. But then you talk about his timing. His timing took center stage, whether it was the game against Oklahoma State, where he ended up chugging along for a 158-yard performance and made Oklahoma State Cowboys fans miserable for a Saturday, or the game against Texas Tech in the Red Raiders. 124 yards bursts. Clap it up, Jaheim. That's how you handle business. Or you have back-to-back touchdown performances against Iowa State and Kansas. Big 12 comp got to break through. And that's exactly what Jaheim White did. He was West Virginia's spark every single time that the offense fluttered, because they struggled to get it together last year. And even if you go back to 2023, where his legend grew immensely, he broke through 1,000 all-purpose yards with 842 on the ground, 125 receiving, and then he added just another 119 on kick returns. This is crazy to think about how he had 4 100-yard rushing games, a 75-yard touchdown catch, a 204-yard game versus Cincinnati. And this was in 2023. 2024, he said, Moan, I'm taking it all the way past the stars, and we going to Saturn, dog. I said, all right, Jaheim, do what you do. So in 2025, you RB2 on my list. RB2 in the entire conference. I'm looking forward to big things happening from Jaheim White because he might be compact, he might be short in stature compared to all these other running backs. But every single time that this kid touches the rock, the stadium leans forward and says, oh, what's about to happen next? That's the reason why I'm looking forward to Jaheim White coming up this year. Up next, wide receiver one. The first down merchant with a deep ball degree that he does not plan on giving up anytime soon. Eric McAllister, TCU. 39 receptions in 2024, and 35 of those receptions went for first downs. Let's just start there. What did you just say, dog? All right, I'll repeat it. 39 receptions in 2024, and 35 of those 39 receptions went for first downs. How can you say reliability? Oh, my bad. It's Eric McAllister at TCU. He had an FBS best 89.7 conversion rate. That is absurd to think about for even a slot guy. But he did it playing out wide, averaging 19.5 yards per catch, 10th best in the nation. When I talk about detonation, he was detonating points. A 114-yard outing against your rival SMU. Make a stink face. Back-to-back 100-yard games mid-season, a go-ahead 84-yard touchdown just to seal the deal, capping off a 17-point comeback against Texas Tech. I mean, what more do you want from the kid? The longest Horned Frog score since Jalen Rager. Does that name ring a bell? In 2017. And then he said, okay, we're going to go to the New Mexico Bowl. All right, cool. I'm about to scorch heaven and earth. 8 first half receptions that this kid had, a touchdown, including a toe tap on a 4th and goal that silenced Louisiana before halftime and the Raging Cajuns. Oh, man, they were helpless. Every single catch that this man made was a problem. Now he's wide receiver one for an offense with a quarterback that's coming back looking to light it up like Christmas lights in 2025, Josh Hoover. I'm going to expect this offense to be pushing 40 plus throws a game. And you got to look on the outside and say, who I'm going to get the ball to? Who I'm going to get the ball to? Oh, there he is. Eric McAllister. That's what I'm talking about right there. Coming up next, wide receiver 2. Talk about a dog. Chase Roberts, the technician that has Sunday traits that these NFL draft gurus and guys are going to end up falling in love with because he got that Saturday swagger that you love. And you wouldn't even expect it because he played at BYU. But guess what? He's the kind of receiver who feels like a captain because he is one. He's a fluent route runner. I mean, anything that you need him to do, comeback, out routes, digs, you name it, he can get jiggy. Like Will Smith said. He just capped off his second 1,000-yard season in 2024, back to back. 3rd team All Big 12, landing on the Shrine Bowl watch list. But I have bigger things on the horizon for Chase Roberts this year. Now, I know we still got to wait for the quarterback to be solved, whether it's Bear, whether it's McKay Hillstead, whether it's the other guy. But listen, Chase Roberts is the straw that stirs this drink up outside of LJ Martin. And he had 4 career 100-yard games and a signature 176-yard performance against Kansas State and the Wildcats that they still have nightmares over. He was BYU's top option on 3rd down all year long. You said you need him to come through clutch for you. He did. And then you look at him as a player watching his film, you say, like, whoa, his burst is deceptive, bro. He has a type of speed that kind of sneaks up on you. Plays like someone who already has missionary experience with his time at BYU and also has deep football IQ. But it's more than just the numbers, though. It's more than just the numbers that tell the full story of it, because I feel like Chase Brown is the ultimate stabilizer, the glue that keeps this offense together. He's a voice that speaks loudly that people understand and people can lean onto in the midst of chaos. In a grown man type of offense with Kalani Sitake, you need somebody that can thrive in chaos, somebody that can get open against zone on 3rd down and 6 and then say, oh yeah, that's my guy. And then when they run in man on 2nd down and 10, Oh yeah, that's my guy. That's where I'm going. We're gonna torture him on we're gonna torture him on man-to-man coverage. Give him a fade route. He going crazy. This is your guy. But the fact of the matter is, BYU fans, this has always been my guy. 100%. Let's move right along. Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson could have easily been number one for me. Could have easily been number one. But if I had to tell you the story of it, we already talked about his quarterback. But for where you are, he's probably the Big 12's most dangerous second half player and probably the most dangerous weapon on the outside in the entire conference. And before this injury came to just wipe out his season in the second half of the Territorial Cup, which is just gut wrenching in my soul to have to think about, he still supported his team in dramatic fashion over the course of the year, 100%, being a leader on the sidelines. But he was on pace to break Arizona records, like in the modern era. He was on pace to do that. 75 receptions, over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, AP third team All-American, and didn't even play a full season. Big 12 Offensive Newcomer of the Year and didn't even play a full season. First team All Big 12 nod, and they said, whoa, this man went crazy. And again, he did not play a full season. It was backloaded, though. Most of his production came in the second half of the year. In the final 6 games before the injury, he put up 50 catches for 732 yards and 6 touchdowns, and his chemistry with Sam Levitt was growing every single week. But that first 6 games of the season, he had to get his footing. He had 25 catches for 369 yards and 4 touchdowns on the day. And when I'm looking at it, I'm saying that you could clearly see the shift in the jump between part 1 of the year and part 2 of the year. In part 2, come on, bro. 12 catch, 170-yard, 2 touchdown eruption against Kansas State. Kansas State still ain't been able to sleep the same ever since then. The most yards by Arizona State Sun Devils player since Brandon Ayuk, and the most on the road for an Arizona State player since 2015. It's been 10 years, a decade since that happened. And where he thrived the most was the fourth quarter. We call him the king of the fourth quarter. He got 3 of his 10 touchdown grabs came with the game on the line. You talk about clutch, you're looking at him on your screen. 4 of those total touchdowns came in the final minutes of the half. Talk about clutch, you're looking at him. But when you talk about finesse, no, he can get finessey. But at the end of the day, he has Hines Ward as his wide receivers coach. And you know what that means, right? No block, no rock. That's the mantra. And he was 5th among all FBS wide receivers with 298 run blocking snaps. So he was able to spring Cam Scatterboo loose just because he was consistent. Jordan Tyson, people talk about the measurables of the speed, acceleration, the catches, the his catch radius being massive, the flare, the flash, but it's that part that I love the most. That part, the run blocking. 298 run blocking snaps. I mean, make no mistake about it, bro. He was electric, unguardable, and becoming a household name until the injury cut him short for this season. Now, we asked him at Big 12 Media Days, how you feeling, Jordan? You healthy? He said, oh, I'm healthy. He's going to be returning as one of the most lethal wideouts in all of America. You better bet that he is. Coming up next on the show, you talk about a tight end that I got a chance to meet up close and personal at Big 12 Media Days that kind of had the biggest, like, jaw-dropping moment outside of Oklahoma State's tight end, because that dude, Ford, is a problem. But the next guy on my list from Cincinnati, he's probably one of the best tight ends in the country. If you're going to talk about a player that can pass Travis Kelce in Cincinnati record books, you have to pay attention and say, Burr, what did you just say, Bo? Yeah, he's starting and passing Travis Kelce. You talk about that kind of special, he's in the same category as it. I'm talking about none other than my guy Joe Royer. And in 2024, Joe Royer was a dog. He came in from Ohio State. OH, somebody finished the rest. I appreciate you. See, this is a call and response show where injuries plagued him early in his career, similar to what we saw. We just talked about the injury bug with Jordan Tyson, but this kid dealt with his own injury bug, and he came back to his hometown. He said, you know what, Moan, I need a change of scenery in order for me to get active and get jiggy, like Will Smith said. 50 receptions for 521 yards and 3 touchdowns. First team All Big 12 honors. He got that check. And he etched his name in the program history with the most single season catches ever by a Bearcats tight end. And he had 50. You know he's trying to push way beyond that this year. Ask UCF how they feel about his performance, where he had 8 catches for 84 yards and he demolished them. Or 7 catches against Texas Tech and they couldn't stop him. Joe Royer, he is a security blanket. He's a red zone weapon. He's a focal point of Cincinnati's aerial attack. And he's getting better with his inline blocking for real. His consistency overall is making him reliable and something that the Cincinnati Bearcats can not only trust, but they can cash out that check and send it to the bank and say, we got week 1 coming up against Nebraska. We're gonna need a dude to get open. His route running makes him absolutely dangerous, and his ceiling, oh man, Joe, his ceiling is just getting started. He is my tight end that you need to watch. My backup would probably be Oklahoma State's tight end because that kid is a freshman, broke records too at Oklahoma State, and he's looking to take that next step up too. Let's talk about the O-line. The front 5 that makes everything possible. If you want to be a dominant team in the Big 12 in 2025, you're going to have an offensive line that is nasty, that is vicious, that can come in and take people's lunch monies on a daily basis, weekly basis. And it starts in the trenches with a guy by the name of Ben Coleman at Arizona State. He's somebody that is making sure that Sam Levitt, Cam Sadabu got crazy active in 2024. He had 451 pass blocking snaps, and he did not allow a single sack, not one. He is a veteran who has his master's degree, and he plays with the mean streak. Just watch the Big 12 championship game and see how he was throwing Iowa State linemen out of the club. An 84.6 PFF pass blocking grade, ranking 21st among all guards in all of America. 646 days off. That's a number that pays attention to you because he had an injury that took him out for a while, almost 2+ years. And then he came back and said, you know what I'm going to do, Moon? I'm going to come back and anchor one of the best ASU offenses in history. ASU's offense put up 6,000 scrimmage yards. That's the 5th most all time in Sun Devils history. He had a lot to do with this. Now we take a trip out there to Salt Lake City. All-American, first team, All Big 12, Polynesian Player of the Year finalist, Spencer Fano is a name that will be a household one by the time that we get to the end of this season. I can promise you. He started all 12 games at right tackle, and after starting at left tackle as a freshman, just filthy work, versatility, footwork, aggression. All of this made him the highest graded lineman in the entire country in 2024. And he even scored a 2-point conversion against Colorado because, we got to celebrate the big boys. Spencer Fano, definitely a dude you got to pay attention to in 2025. Kansas Jayhawks open up the week 0 festivities taking on Fresno State. And you can bet your bottom dollar that they're going to try to run the rock this year, even though they don't got Devin Neal. You might be like, where is this going to come from? Well, it starts in the trenches. And it starts with a kid by the name of Bryce Foster, who allowed the Jayhawks as a team only allowed 10 sacks all last season. And you would think it had to be more, Moon. They got Jalen Daniels as a quarterback. Nah, they only give up 10. But you look at who the front line of that was, it was Bryce Foster. When you pay attention to the game in week 0 on Saturday, pay attention to number 61. Bryce Foster, the former Texas A&M star who transferred in and immediately started to take charge, paving the way for 211 yards per game in the rushing attack. And he landed on pretty much every all Big 12 preseason list that you can find. He is a centerpiece of this Kansas Jayhawks offense. Rock chalk, Jayhawks, let's go. We go back to Utah. Caleb Lomu. You mean to tell me they got 2 linemen that made the list? Yup. Mid-season freshman All-American who started all 12 games at left tackle. He held his own against veteran pass rushers all around the conference. And then he ended up being on the Polynesian watch list, so he has that DNA too. And for his dominance and demeanor, he also has a mean streak to him. His motor never stops, and his upside might be higher than some people might say is higher than Spencer Farnos. They got 2 dudes on the offensive line. And guess who their quarterback is? We'll talk about him a little bit later. Let's move on. Colorado. Guess what? You got a dog on the list. One of 2 Colorado Buffaloes that made this list. Jordan Seaton, the number 1 offensive tackle in the 2024 class. Jordan Seaton started in all 13 games. The first Buffs true freshman to ever start a season opener at tackle. He did it, and he didn't flinch. He gave up 3 sacks on 612 pass blocking attempts. That is crazy to think about. And by the time we got to the end of the season of what we are, he was the top graded freshman offensive tackle in the country in pass protection. You have to remember his name. He's going to be shaking the commissioner's hands on a Thursday night for the NFL draft. He's going to be shaking that commissioner's hand, Roger Goodell, because he's going to the league for sure. And then, it can't be offense if I don't talk to you about special teams. Kicker boy, Will Ferrin, BYU. Did you know that he broke BYU's single season field goal record with 24 of them things? He even nailed a 54-yard bomb against Baylor, drilled a game winner against Utah that broke their hearts in enemy territory that they still can't get out their minds. Will Ferrin is a Lou Groza semifinalist. He's first team All Big 12 and the heartbeat of BYU special teams. Someone that I would be remiss not to mention because he can get active in camp. What I've been hearing from camp is he's not missing a stride. He came back ready to go. We talk about the offense. We can't talk about special teams without mentioning the guy that's out there returning them kicks and taking the thing back to the apartments. Returner. I'm going to get out to Josh Cameron, Baylor. I dare you to name me a more dangerous dual threat returner / receiver. And I feel like it's going to be very hard for you to try to do so. Especially when I start mentioning that Josh Cameron averaged 20.7 yards per punt return. What? 20.7 yards per punt return. You would think I was capping. I mean, they just found a way to keep kicking him the rock. And he just said, you know what, man, I'm going to get an insane average. On offense, he added 52 receptions, 744 yards, 10 touchdowns, with Sawyer Robinson as his quarterback. And on special teams, 14 punts, 290 yards, with multiple game-changing flips of the field. He is pure electricity, and I cannot wait to see Josh Cameron cook in 2025, year of our Lord. Now, for all the love that the offense gets, I mean, the defense is where some people have been waiting for me to talk about defense because defense wins championships. Offense sells out tickets. At least that's what they told me when I was growing up playing ball. And I feel like the stats still remain this way. But this preseason all Big 12 defensive team, I mean, we have some dogs, but you're going to notice a theme when I start mentioning some of these names. Let's get into it because defense is where Saturdays get settled. Who has a juggernaut defense? These are some of the players that you need to know heading into the 2025 season that you must pay attention to in the Big 12. Coming up first, Defensive Player of the Year candidate. I'm putting my pick in. My slip is going in. Defensive Player of the Year to Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker, Texas Tech. Moon, why are you so passionate about dude? Because he's a living hurricane in shoulder pads. That's what he is. He led the Red Raiders defense last year. And you could argue that he was the Red Raiders defense last year. The Big 12's most violent truth teller, the most vicious tackler, He had 127 tackles with 10 and a half tackles for a loss, 5 sacks, and he led the league in controlled chaos. When you look at the makeup of what you want as a linebacker, you want somebody that can get them solo tackles sky high. Well, he checked that box. He had 77 solo tackles. He ranked third in the FBS. No linebacker in America had more clutch impact plays than Jacob Rodriguez. Linebacker, Texas Tech. He forced 3 fumbles, recovered 2 of them things, picked off a pass in crunch time, and then even scored a defensive touchdown. All of this while containing the defense. He had the he had the most snaps, 740 high intensity snaps. He's not coming off the field, and he's still going sideline to sideline. How you want a linebacker to be? Top 15 nationally in Pro Football Focus grid for linebackers, and the highest graded defender on Texas Tech's entire team. When the moment got massive, he said, "Okay, Moan, it's time to put my cape on." He had 17 tackles against Colorado. Ask the Buffaloes how they feel about Jacob Rodriguez. 2.5 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks, a forced fumble recovery against Iowa State. Ask the Cyclones if they know about Jacob Rodriguez. I mean, the kid is whatever you need for a linebacker, he has it. That's why he is my vote for the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. And I feel very good about that. Let's keep it going. We stand in Texas Tech. There's going to be a theme here. David Bailey. We're talking about the defensive line right now. David Bailey is a Stanford transfer who walked into Lubbock because, they got some money now in Lubbock, And I think he is coming for a vengeance. At Stanford, David Bailey was in a situation where he posted 14 and a half sacks, 22 and a half tackles for a loss, because I'm not going to sell the half part. They'll get mad at me. You're going to play like 22 and a half, boom. Make sure you say the half. All right, cool. But he also had an unreal 7 forced fumbles, which is crazy to think about. And in 2024 alone, he tallied 7 of those sacks. He led the Stanford Cardinal in pressures, and he earned a pass rush grade from PFF of 93.2. That was the best in all of the entire country. He has played over 1,100 defensive snaps in his career. He has NFL scouts salivating and can't wait until he comes out in the draft. And he joins Texas Tech with a top 40 draft grade already. Texas Tech, they've been reloading, but they've been cashing out, bro. And they brought in a guy that can be a wrecking ball for this team. 100%. Trenches win championships. You already know, Northside. Let's keep it going in the trenches. Dante Corleone, the godfather of the interior. Dante Corleone is a blast, man. I got a chance to interview him at Big 12 Media Days, and he has a story for the ages, and he has the support of a community in Cincinnati that is going to be behind him. But the terrifying offseason health scare that he had to deal with blood clots, that was something that can make any athlete go through a dark stage. He talked to me about that, but from his sophomore year all the way up to where we are now, he has been absolutely owning the middle. 3 straight all-conference seasons under his belt, over 100 career tackles, enough pressure power to cave in any pocket in the Big 12. He is a local legend in Cincinnati, but he's also a national force. Last year, 26 tackles, 5 tackles for a loss, and 3.5 sacks. And this is all while dealing with double teams the entire game. I mean, but he ate double teams like it was breakfast tacos. Like he made it just like it's nothing. I'm excited to see a fully healthy Dante Corleone step into his own to just end the storybook of what his career is at the University of Cincinnati. We talk about a guy that's going to wreak havoc on the interior. Look no further. That is your guy right there. Let's move on. Arizona State, you got a dog on the list. CJ Fight. See, you did give him hell. Hey, they did give him hell. The anchor in the Desert Storm, CJ Fight got first team All Big 12 honors. And I feel like it was well deserved because he was a rock in a really huge force and reason why Arizona State was able to play a lot more zone coverage last year. They played a ton of zone coverage. But the thing is that I love is that he brings a punishing presence with him that I feel like any football fan will just love and really get behind of. If he gets single blocked, that's a bad situation for you, offensive line. You got to double team him. He's gonna punish your center. You better bet that he is. And Big 12 guards across the conference, they remember his hands. They remember the strength that he's. Come here, boy. Come here, boy. Get over here, boy. That's CJ Fight for you. He's gonna bring the fight to you 100%. By the end of the day, when you're talking about Arizona State and what they want to be in 2025 with the amount of returning starters that they have, you look in the trenches and you see that guy there, you feel absolutely good about where you are heading into 2025. I promise you. Then a guy that transferred schools from one Big 12 school to another Big 12 school, and he was like, Shane McMahon, must be the money. Show me the money. Nah, all jokes aside, he's a transfer that's coming in that a lot of people might have their own personal opinions on, but at the end of the day, he went from Auburn to UCF, now to Lubbock. And he's been that dude. 2024, 45 tackles, 9.5 tackles for a loss, 6 quarterback hurries, all while anchoring the interior on a UCF defense that just they had their own fair share of growing pains. I feel like I said that nicely, right? Yeah, I said that nicely. PFF rated him the number 2 returning defensive tackle in Power 4 football. And now he gets to pair with a guy that I just talked to you about. Where he at? David Bailey. So you start to put 2 and 2 together. Texas Tech. Will you add in Romello Height that just came in for Georgia Tech? Texas Tech is defensive line. It's some dudes, bro. Hey, he said another CU O-line victim. I love you, Northside. Hey, facts. We gotta talk about the positive things though. And then last but not least on the defensive line, probably another guy that got CU work. The freak who finally grew into a legend and a guy that does a lot for the community as well, Dominique Orange, Iowa State. He made 13 starts, 24 tackles, 4.5 tackles for a loss. He blew up plays later down the stretch. And in the Big 12 title game against Arizona State, he recorded his first career sack, 4 total stops, setting the tone for ISU's trench mob. And I think this is more so of a projection piece of where he can be in this year's defense, and where he can be as a leader of his defensive line. We talk about a kid that all eyes are going to be on in week 0 as Kansas State comes to town. And Kansas State offensive line is supposed to be better this year. And it starts with a guy that could come in and wreak havoc. We're going to be looking at major things happening for Dominique Orange. And he rounds out my list of defensive linemen, big boys that's getting some love. Now let's talk about the dogs. You know I love linebackers. Linebackers probably my favorite position, bro. I love linebackers. And the guys that I'm about to talk to you, I already talked to you about Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech. Just a baller. But these guys that I'm about to mention to you right now, you got to pay attention to them because some of them playing early, getting it popped off early. And you do not want to miss them. So when the announcers start talking about them and everything, you will already know because Moon told you who to watch out for, right? Let's get into it. Austin Romaine, Kansas State. The academic assassin who has a motor and a mean streak that any football fan that loves violence is going to fall in love with. He is a coach's dream or quarterback's nightmare. I mean, this kid, 96 tackles, 7.5 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. You want the fumbles to pop out on the stat sheet. He got that too. He is Kansas State's first defender to hit those numbers since 2017. He landed landed on an the nation is starting to grow into the legend of what is Austin Romaine, but week 0 gets kicked off against Iowa State. And this is a game that you need to pay attention to. He had 12 tackles against West Virginia, Houston, and Iowa State. 12 plus. That is game changing, game breaking, if I might say. He had a 60-yard scoop and score versus Tulane. That's back breaking for Tulane in the Green Wave. Point blank, period. This dude does not blink. In the heat of battle, he don't miss. This man don't miss. He don't miss, bro. He don't miss. That's the reason why I love him. Can't get enough of Austin Romaine. Mo, you sound like you infatuated. I am. You watch that man tape. Go watch that man tape and tell me you don't feel the same way that I do. Up next, Keaton Thomas, Baylor. Baylor, you got a dog in your linebacker room, bro. He played all season last year in 2024 with the cast, and he still racked up 114 tackles with 7 tackles for a loss and 2.5 sacks. Did I mention a pick 6 with the cast? Oh man, 12 stops against Utah. They know his name. 13 stops against Houston. They know his name too. And then he closed the year out in a bowl game performance that is just going to look monumental for his film. This is a classic story of a kid that went the JUCO route, and then he was an All-American in JUCO, and now he is a Butkus Award contender heading into 2025. If you like feel-good stories, if you like players that you can get behind, players that have to go through the ringer in order to get to their current situations, Keaton Thomas is that guy, but he also is probably the Big 12's most punishing tackler. He put up 114 last year with a cast. Crazy work. Coming up next, let's talk about the DBs. Now, these DBs that I'm about to talk to you about, of course, there's so many in this conference. There's so many. Like, for real. I'm not even joking with you. But in order to make the list for me, I can only pick 5. So, I'm going to talk to you about the guys that you need to know. Starting with my dude. Let's start with my dude, Bud, first. Bud Clark, TCU, a.k.a. Mr. Timely Pick, a.k.a. when I need him the most, he is going to be a problem. Yo, I actually talked to Lander Barton. I interviewed Lander Barton at Big 12 Media Days. He was just right there, too. I am expecting a huge year for Mr. Barton in the middle. Yes, you know ball. You know ball, Northside. Bud Clark. I just smile when I think about Bud Clark. For real, for real. 3 interceptions. He has 11 interceptions on his career. That's why I call him Mr. Timely Pick, because every time TCU gets in just a weird and unchy situation, he always just delivers them to the promised land. He's 9th all time in interceptions at TCU. All time. He had an 89.8 Pro Football Focus grade, and that was 3rd among all Power 4 safeties. He's a dude. 67 tackles from the safety position, a forced fumble, and he even had a block point after attempt. He's the kind of safety that doesn't chase plays. He creates plays in the back end. He can be a safety net and come down with that thunder. He's going to bring that energy. That's the reason why I picked this picture for him, because this is a picture that encapsulates exactly who he is as a dog. He is somebody that I'm looking forward to and that you must know. When you turn on the TCU game, look for 2-1 because he is a dog in the back end. Up next, Jeremiah Cooper, Iowa State. Iowa State gets popped off in week 0. And a lot of people might be talking about Rocco Beck. They might be talking about the offensive line. They might even talk about the head coach, Matt Campbell. You're going to get a lot of people talking about a lot of talking points, but you need to know that this is an all-conference monster, a machine, a true closer, a lockdown DB. He has range and he has restraint. He doesn't get caught out of position all the time, bro. He has 2 interceptions, 8 pass breakups, and 48 tackles last year in 2024. He has 7 career interceptions and a track record of making the clutch play when I need it the most. first team All Big 12 in 2023. He was still going to be elite in 2025, and he's one of the key guys that you need to know in the room for Iowa State. Let's keep it going. I got a Colorado Buffalo. What up, DJ? Everybody love to hate on DJ, bro. But at the end of the day, he's one of the best players in the entire Big 12. He is a dynamo in the back end for Colorado. And when they need him the most, he's going to come through. I'm betting on you going to bet the house on DJ? Shoot, why not? Why not? Colorado has 2 players on this list. This is a former Cowboy that we talking about who torched his old team. Did you know that DJ McKinney played more snaps than anyone else on Colorado's defense with 840 snaps? He is the definition of a always on the field type of guy. He had a pick 6 against Oklahoma State, his old team, 62 total tackles, 9 pass breakups, 3 interceptions on his under his belt. He entered the season with interceptions in 3 summertime workouts and all of that. His DJ is locked and loaded. He ranked top 5 in the Big 12 and passes defended. When I'm looking at his sample size, this kid right here, Colorado, you're lucky to have him. You're lucky to have him. Take advantage of it because he is a dog. Oh, I can't forget. Gotta go back. 100-yard landlord. Eviction hand and notice. 100-yard landlord. Xavier offered. Why are you talking like this, Moon? Because I talked to my dude at Big 12 Media Days. He gave me an interview, which I thank him greatly for. And he opened up and he told me about like his journey just to get up to this point, being in a position where he had to deal with injuries, and now he's back, ready to shoulder the load. 2024, 522 coverage snaps. Crazy work. Gave up only 9 receptions and 522 coverage snaps. 9. Why do you call him 100-yard landlord? Because you can bet it's locked down. It's locked down. You might as well go ahead and pay your rent. Before you can step onto this football field, you got to pay your rent. And if that rent, you don't got the money, he locking you up. 4.2% of the time that he was in coverage, he allowed a pass. That's insane to think about. He gave up a 34.9 QBR, one of the lowest in the entire FBS in the entire country. This is mind-blowing to think about. He forced incompletions on 26.3% of all targets that came his way. He had an 87.5% coverage grade. And he was the leader in Arizona State's back end with 85 total tackles. Top 10 nationally in tackling grade among safeties. And number 2 in sheer pressure alone. You talk about a kid that had to play behind Shamari Simmons last year and soaked up all that knowledge, and now he is the alpha in the room. 100-yard landlord, Xavier offered. You have to know that he's coming for that all conference this year. Maybe even national awards the way we talking about. I know that's on his list. And then last but not least in the back end, can't forget about him. Cannot forget about him. I call him the interception collector that has no fear whatsoever. Jontez Williams, Iowa State. Iowa State plays in Dublin, Ireland against Kansas State in week 0. And there's people that are going to talk to you about all these different skill positions and everything. But they probably won't talk to you about Jontez. And Jontez, he's a dog. 4 straight games with the pick. That's tied for the second longest streak in Cyclones history. He finished the season with 46 total tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 4 interceptions, 5 pass breakups. Wherever you needed him, he came through clutch. He had to get his bearings, like all players have to do. But when he started to lean into his physicality and that edge, that made him Iowa State's tone setter in the slot. And you know how vital the slot position is, especially dealing with all these Big 12 offenses. You're going to be looking at him to be the blanket type of defender in the back end for Iowa State. They have 2 dudes that's on this list. Iowa State just continues to put out DBs that are just chef's kiss, like creme de la creme, 100%. And then, I can't talk about defense without talking about a guy that flips field position. The nation's best punter, period. Argue with your mama and your granny. 49.35 yards per punt. 22 punts over 50 yards. 5 60-plus yards bombs. Who is this kid, Boom? You need to watch out for him. Everybody talks about Baylor and Sawyer Robinson, but this dude, Palmer Williams, he's going to the league. He's going to the league. 100%. You can say that confidently, Moon. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He averaged nearly 63 yards a boot versus Utah. That is field position flipped every single time it comes off your foot. That was the best single game performance in Baylor's history. 3 times has he been to the Rays 8. He's not just a punter, bro. He is a field position weapon that's in Baylor's artillery that they can pull out and say, all right, man, we got to do a 3 and out. Oh, don't worry. They starting at the 15-yard line. Hey, don't worry. I'm going to got that punt down inside the 20. Like, that is who you get in with my guy, Palmer Williams. And kickers and punters don't get enough love in the college football world, but I need to introduce you to the nation's best punter. His name is Mr. 49.35 yards per boot, Mr. Palmer Williams. Make sure you remember the name, bro. Make sure you remember the name. In this wacky and wonderful world of college football that seems to be moving and shaking so much, the Big 12 Conference is going to have a lot to say in how the direction of this conference shakes out. From Sam Leavitt and his just pure athleticism, his calm under pressure, and doing it all as a freshman, to the linebacker core that we talked about, the defensive line additions from Texas Tech, the offensive linemen, 2 of them from Utah. Jordan Seaton having one of the most dominant freshman seasons at Colorado in their history. When you look at all these players that we just got done and talked about, and I just went almost an hour talking about this alone in the show, bro, these players are who you need to pay attention to and you need to watch in 2025. There's obviously more. For every single position, I can give you another guy that you should pay attention to. But the point is that this conference is loaded from top to bottom, and all you got to do is just pay attention. It ain't going, it's not going to be a situation where, some kids sneak up on you and everything. But if you're a real ball knower and ball talk, you know that the guys that I mentioned, they might have their lows. Like my guy Northside said, another victim by Colorado. But at the core of it, we're banking on their highs for the 2025. I'm banking on Jacob Rodriguez's highs for 2025. I'm banking on the highs for Jordan Tyson this year, having an offensive lineman like Ben Coleman. Big 12 is going to be super fun and loaded. That's why we got a conference that we must pay attention to. This is the world of CFB. Hope you're enjoying the show. We're about to take a little break and be right back after this message. Mr. Gary.
I love you, and I do this for you.
Nah, not yet. Not yet.
Hey, but when that check hit, that NIL check hit, baby.
Oh my God.
We going to Applebee's and Chili's. Same night.
Crazy, dog. Arizona State. You find me on Instagram, Twitter, 100-yard landlord. 100-yard landlord.
Appreciate you talking to me, man. This is the world of college football. Come on, say what's up to the camera. Say what's up to the camera. Tell them that Sawyer Robinson should be Heisman 2025. Tell them we on the campaign. We walking in Waco, right?
The world of college football. I see you rocking the stash, man. Yeah. Looking good, Chad.
We're here with Traverse Family Football head coach, Justin Wilcox. I'm trying to get swole like this dude. This is the world of college football, my podcast where we get a chance to cover the entirety of the college football world as nationally credentialed media member of DCFB Nation. You can check out DCFBNation.com for all the latest in college football world. and stay up to date. As the season starts, you want to trust the source that can keep you up to date with everything that you need to know in the CFB world. Look no further than CFB Nation, proud sponsors of this show. They are who make it all possible. So special shout out to the gang. Let's shift the tone. Nebraska fans. Nebraska fans. I've been waiting to talk to y'all all season long, bro. I've been waiting. We got a lot to discuss, but I want to discuss your offense because we all know the elephant in the room. Can Matt Rule do what he did in year 3 at his other destinations? That's the thing that people want to talk about. But I'm going to shine light and focus on another area that I saw that was like, Nebraska might be putting up some points in 2025, and people might not be aware that it's happening. This is the world of CFB, and this is a story about Dylan Raiola, Dana Holgerson, and Nebraska's, I should call it a red print, because you're not talking about no blue. A red print for 2025 under Matt Rule, and what it looks like. It starts with this kid. If you are a Nebraska Cornhuskers fan, this is our guy. This is the dude. You know what I mean? Nebraska. I've been waiting all year to talk about them. Look, there's a look that quarterbacks give when the hype starts to wear off and the grind finally starts to set in for you. And you can tell it's like a look behind their eyes, just like exhaustion. And it whispers to them, hey, Dylan, you're not in high school anymore. You're not in high school. And Dana Holgerson came in and saw it right away. He was able to see that this kid was beat up, spinning, trying to process both blitzes and the angles that they're coming at, plus a generational expectation from Cornhuskers Nation that's out here that you got to come in and be our guy. That was what Dylan Raiola had to deal with last October. In that moment, not his flip from Georgia, not his media day flex in Vegas. That was the beginning of the real story back in October, in my opinion, because somewhere in the film rooms of TCU, where Dana Holgerson had been demoted to a defensive analyst after being fired from Houston and the Cougars. You remember that stint that we had in Houston? Yeah. He was the architect of a 30-plus yard, 30 touchdown passing seasons, and that felt like all of it was recalibrating. And across the country, you can see that a freshman quarterback in Lincoln was drowning in chaos, not just bad play, but just chaos. And then they had a bye-week meeting, and then all of it started to change and come out of nowhere. Matt Rule, he hit the panic button. They spiraled after a 5-1 start. Marcus Satterfield was out as a play caller for us. So no more Satterfield. And the offense ultimately was stale. And Dylan Raiola, it was kind of all over us. We could see it. We just couldn't lie about it, Nebraska fans. But you could tell that Dylan Raiola was pressing, and the weight of an entire state felt like it was on his shoulders, but it started to leak in through his shoulder pads. And it felt like it showed up in every single read that he had. Then you enter Dana Holgerson. There was no grand unveiling. It probably hit the streets, and people was like, oh, whatever. Like, just keep moving. There wasn't even no air raid install for this whole process. Just a conversation, and then 10 days later, Dana Holgerson was calling the plays in the Coliseum against USC. What's wild is Dana Holgerson didn't just bring his system, but he brought his authentic self of who he is. The same guy who coached Case Keenum to 44 touchdown passes in 2009, going back in the CFB vault for you, who molded Geno Smith into a 4,000-yard monster at WVU, or turned Will Greer into a first-round arm talent at West Virginia, or made Clayton Tune. You remember that Clayton Tune? Yep. A 4,000-yard quarterback at Houston. Who's the catalyst behind all of this noise? Dana Holgerson. But if you look at the guy that's pictured on your screen, Dylan Raiola, he finished 2024 with 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and just over 2,300 passing yards. But he also completed 64% of his passes. And this was all behind a shaky offensive line. And he posted a QBR that gradually gained in, I guess you could say, respectability over the final month of the season. But if you take the numbers aside and you just do eye tests, I feel like the eye test started to shift. He had cleaner feet. He had fewer forced throws. He wasn't putting the ball in harm's way as much. And then ultimately, I felt like his confidence started to grow behind all the Patrick Mahomes aura that he picks up and tried to embody himself with the headband and the curls and the mohawk and even wearing a number 15. But if you looked at it, his internal clock started to rush up and speed like slow down. And at the beginning of the year, it felt like it was rushed up. And I started looking at this growth and I'm like, yo, that has everything to do, maybe not with Matt Rule, but with the guy that they took an offseason gamble with, and that is Dana Holgorsen. 1 foot in the pass and 1 foot in the air raid. When Dana Holgorsen made it official that he's going to be staying at Nebraska, it wasn't to transplant an entire air raid offense into a Nebraska Cornhuskers DNA. In fact, he said that I refuse to. I'm not doing that. I'm going to adapt. I'm going to keep Satterfield's terminology for you and his offensive shell instinct. Why? Because it's better for one guy to learn a new system than half the team to learn a new system. This is working smarter, not harder. And I do not feel like this is passivity. This is coaching maturity that Dana Holgorsen is showcasing to the public. The people that he layered in just enough of his offensive DNA for you to know that we're going to open it up. We're going to test the vertical seams. We're going to speed up the tempo. And we're going to let Dylan Raiola hunt. Or, okay, Nebraska fans or people that's out there in the CFB nation, think about it like this. It's like Nebraska didn't install a new engine. They just turbocharged what was already under the hood and then added some nitrous to that joint. Dylan Raiola responded. He slimmed down, cut body fat, improved core mobility. He took complete control of protections. He started to gain more maturity. He making coverage checks at the line of scrimmage in the spring. I'm looking at Dylan. I'm like, okay, you see the growth. Most sophomores, they're still trying to gain this to their repertoire. Or they're pretending that they know how to do it when they really don't. But him, he's taking charge into it. And I'm looking at a guy in Dana Holgorsen who has coached 5 different quarterbacks to 30-plus touchdown seasons. And he was quoted in saying that he understands run checks, coverages, protections better than anyone that he's ever coached. And it's not even close. This is the same coach that got a chance to turn Will Greer into a first-round arm, or that molded Clayton Tune into a 4,000-yard quarterback who played with Geno Smith in a 4,000-yard monster at West Virginia. Case Keenum's 44 touchdowns in 2009. And you mean to tell me that Dylan Raiola, it's not even close of how he understands run checks, coverages, protections better than anyone? I feel like that's the real headline that you need to pay attention to. For real, for real. Now, I know it might be cliche or boring or whatever to talk about Nebraska. Nebraska, oh, brother. Oh, gosh, you got to talk about this team again. And if you're a Nebraska fan, you're probably like, oh, brother. What are we going to be in this year, 2025 year of our Lord? Well, let the numbers talk and ball talk 100%. I'm your boy Moan, and these are the numbers that you need to know. Case Keenum had 44 touchdowns in year 2 with Dana Holgorsen. Geno Smith had 42 touchdowns in year 2 with Dana Holgorsen. Will Greer, 37 touchdowns in year 2 with Dana Holgorsen. Clayton Tune, 30 touchdowns in year 2 with Dana Holgorsen. How many did Dylan Raiola have in year 1? 13. He is about to have a second season for the ages under Dana Holgorsen. And if you do the math, and you start to look at the writing on the wall, it's just like Matt Rule has a history of making a team evolve in year 3. So does Dana Holgerson have that same identity of turning quarterbacks into a detonator in year 2, and they just go ballistic. Dylan Raiola is sitting on the same type of launch pad for the situation. So let's say he jumps from 13 touchdowns all the way up to 28 touchdowns. That alone can swing Nebraska from a 7-6 team to a 10-2 team, because the defense returns most of its top 10 tacklers, and the offensive line is going to add some portal experience that we have. And then you add in the Big Ten's expanded playoff window, and then we looking at Nebraska fans like, what? Why not us? Why can't we be in the college football playoff? Still don't believe me? I get it. I mean, it's Nebraska we talking about, right? I was quoted as saying before the season started that I feel like this year was going to be the year that the Blue Bloods returned center stage. It was going to be the year that USC is good. It's going to be the year that Iowa is good. It's going to be the year that Nebraska is good. We're going to see these powerhouse programs that were once pillars in the college football world as far as dominance return to dominance. And I think that there's a myth that Nebraska's fan base is unrealistic, but the truth is they've just seen it before. And if you've seen it, you know what it looks like when it's coming back. That's just the facts. Like Dylan Raiola, he's not going to be here to manage a bowl team. That's not his job. He is brought here with all these expectations to resurrect the empire. The same Nebraska that was elite with Tommy Frazier. And if that sounds dramatic, just look at the track record. 8 straight seasons without 6 wins prior to last year. The first bowl win since 2015 came via the Pinstripe Bowl over Boston College in a wet, rainy, just ugly contest out there in BC. I mean, up there at Fenway for this game. I mean, in Pinstripe. 4 quarterbacks, 3 offensive coordinators, 2 head coaches in the past 5 years. They haven't had any type of continuity, but still underneath all of the things that I just told you lies a semblance of belief for Nebraska football. And where this belief is rooted in this guy that we talking about, Dylan Raiola and Dana Holgerson, and the fact that there's alignment between the two. Matt Rule said, I'm about to be the guy that gives clarity in this situation. Dana Holgerson needs some belief. Dylan Raiola demanded that he grow, especially in the October stretch. They all stayed together. And I think that's what makes this moment so rare. And that's what makes where we are right now, not just more Nebraska speak whatever you need. You know, this is what I think is going to end up happening and transpiring in 2025. Dylan Raiola was once the number 1 recruit who couldn't decide where he wanted to be. He didn't know if he wanted to be in Ohio State, Georgia, Nebraska. He played the game for a while, and then the game ended up playing him. But he's here now. And then he ultimately has a play caller that could come in who believes in him, who believes in his arm, that has a history of developing and finding more within quarterbacks. A program that's on the verge of believing again. They got the trickles of faith coming in. This is beyond Dylan Raiola's breakout season. I'm here to tell you that this is Nebraska's breakout season. It's not going to be a comeback. It's a convergence of 3 things pulling together. Brilliant football minds who finally found the same page, a quarterback that's going to take the next step and leap in his production, and you have to look at their calendar, a perfect recipe to shock the Big Ten landscape. What's today's date? Where we at right now on the calendar? August 18, 2025. Remember these receipts on August 18, 2025. Because if Dana Holgerson has taught me anything, and if history means anything, this next chapter for Dylan Raiola is going to be around that 30 touchdown mark. And he and Nebraska are going to be a problem in December. This is the world of CFB.
Look at you out here using all these other sports books and you ain't even using the best one. BetUS. Get 125% match bonus when you use the promo code CFB Nation. Yeah, you heard me correctly. 125% match bonus on your first deposit using that code CFB Nation. We know that college football is in the off season, even though we don't celebrate that. CFB Nation, we do college football 24/7, but there are plenty of things for you guys to bet on.
Who will have the most wins? OKC Thunder or Cleveland Cavaliers? Can Luka and LeBron make it all mesh to make it to the play-in tournament? Maybe you're a college basketball guy ready to risk it all for Florida to make it to the big dance.
Basketball isn't for you? Maybe you're a football guy. Well, BetUS got you covered with this year's UEFA Championship. Can Liverpool or Barcelona win it all? Will Erling Haaland or Harry Kane lead their teams to victory?
May is going to get popping when the Kentucky Derby hits town. BetUS has you covered in that way too, with all major horse racing events. Point is, type in that promo code CFB Nation and go get that money. Go get that money, twin. We appreciate BetUS. We appreciate our sponsors. We also appreciate our host, DCFB Nation. This is the world of college football. We're lucky to have you on this beautiful Monday, August the 18th, 2025. As I take a sip of my chalice of water, I would like to tell you thank you for tuning in to the show, whether you're listening to via podcast. We thank you. We thank you. Make sure you hit that 5-star rating if you feel that way. If you feel like it's 1 star, and tell me how you feel too. If you're watching via video format, via Twitter, YouTube, or you catch this via Spotify as well, we greatly appreciate you being here, soaking in this content. We cover college football in the entirety of it. So we want to make sure everybody has a voice that's heard in this ecosystem. Over this entire offseason, we got a chance to talk about so much in this college football world and cover a lot of different teams. And we take pride in doing so as nationally credentialed media. The CFB Nation Tour is getting kicked off in 2025. And the name of the tour this year is We Cover the Nation Tour. Because this year we plan on having our coverage from sea to shining sea, from California to Georgia, from Utah to Florida, from Wyoming all the way out to Virginia. So we're going to cover the nation. And if you strap up, we're going to try to get out there and see you in real time, in person. If only you understood how many games that I'm trying to get to. I might sound crazy if I say the number, but I'm really trying to get to so many different games this year. And I really do feel like it's possible. And shout out to every CFB Nation because they make it all possible. Let's continue on the show. This weekend, I had the pleasure of doing something that was like once in a lifetime. I felt like was a opportunity that I could not pass up. So your boy Moon is going to be in the in-season documentary that the Georgia State Panthers are shooting in 2025. I'm going to say that again. Your boy Moon is going to be in the in-season documentary for the football program of Georgia State University that they're shooting currently. I went up there Saturday to Center Park Stadium in the club level and got a chance to shoot. It was only 2 of us. It was our guy Ben Moore, who covers Georgia State before they even had a football team. So shout out to Ben. And then it was myself, Moon of CFB Nation, covering Georgia State for the last 2 seasons. And last year got a chance to travel on the road with them and everything, to see them in Huntington, West Virginia, and support them, even though the season wasn't the best for them. But it's in moments where you go through adversity when you really get the chance to see people's character. And I showed up for Georgia State, and they continuously show up for me. So they asked me to be a part of their in-season documentary. And I want to break that news for y'all that just like how the SEC just dropped the program on Netflix and you saw the different media personnel inside the documentary giving their story and their feel for how the SEC season was taking shape, from Paul Feinbaum to my guy from that SEC podcast, the guy Mike, I think his name is. It was in the same feel. And I'm super excited for the episodes to drop. I'm expecting them to be released soon. And it's going to be a process through the entire season. So I just want to give a special shout out to Georgia State for believing in not only CFB Nation, believing in me, but also inviting me, hand selecting me to be a part of this documentary that's going to really change not only people's perspective of Georgia State, but where Georgia State sits and resides in the heartbeat of Atlanta. I'm super excited for them. But it wouldn't be me if I didn't do my due diligence and tell you on this episode, we're going to talk about my Panthers. If you don't know, your boy Moon hit the transfer portal. I am no longer a Georgia Yellow Jackets fan, supporter, all that type of stuff. I still love Buzz. Buzz is my dog through thick and thin, rain and wind. Put our names together in the wet pavement and let it harden over the test of time. Me and Buzz is locked in forever. That's my twin. But I'm looking for a new team, and Georgia State has been pulling on my heartstrings, rolling out the red carpet, saying, "Hey, Moon, hey, come be a Panther, bro." I mean, I stay 10 minutes away from y'all stadium. Bro. This is the world of CLB, and I'm about to tell you a little deep dive into Georgia State's new ground game under head coach Dale McGee and the new running back room that is loaded and coming in to 2025, ready to punish people in the Sun Belt. Let's set the stage in Atlanta. The bell cow from last year is gone. But guess what? Dale McGee did not blink. In fact, as soon as the season was done, you could see him smiling because guess what? Recruiting time is here. And this is where Dale McGee is at his best from his time at Georgia to any of his other stops. This is a national championship winning coach that we're talking about as an assistant. And now he's in a position where he has his first full recruiting class. It's the best in Georgia State history. Yeah, I said it. It's the best recruiting class in Georgia State history. And they are fresh off of losing their leading rusher, Freddie Brock, in 2025. Freddie took his talents to Oklahoma State. Hey, clap it up. More power for you. Hopefully you enjoy Stillwater and Mike Gundy's mullet. You lost dynamic dual threat Michael Dukes to graduation. He graduated. Clap it up to him. But what did Dale McGee do to respond to all this movement and shaking to one of his favorite positions on the entire team? The running back coach formerly at the University of Georgia. He said, I'm about to flip this entire running back room into a weaponized committee, and you might not know who we going to come out and start this week, but it does not matter because we like Baskin Robbins. We got 31 different flavors of whatever you need. Upside at every single turn. He got power 4, power 5, however you want to label it. I look at it like a power 2. He got bounce back candidates, group of 5 contenders, upside freshmen, a little mix of everything that you need. What I'm trying to tell you in short, the 2025 Georgia State Panthers backfield is deeper, meaner, and built to pounce in 2025. So let's dig into the ground truth from ground level because your boy Moon sees it up close and personal with Coach Dale McGee. Let's talk about who's back. There's only one player that's back, and that's DJ Murray, pictured on your screen. He's the only returning running back. While he only has 18 yards in 4 games, that's not going to jump off the screen to you. But what gives him an edge is that he has travel squad experience. He has toughness. He has grit. He's been through under the system with Dale McGee, so it's not like a change in philosophy or anything like that. He already has a year under his belt. He has speed, burst, pop, and there's more firepower around him to help mold him and shape him out. And this is beyond just a situational role that I'm talking about. This is him being a part of a committee where his skill set is greatly needed because we need somebody that can take that thing 80 plus yards to the pot, man, just because he hit a gap and the offensive line did their job. DJ Murray, he's the only returning player that's coming back. But then we look at where we are. Coach McGee went into the transfer portal heavy, bro. And he said, you know what? I am about to just pick. You get a try. It's like Oprah. You get a Scully. You get a Scully. You get a Scully. Hey, you're running back. Hey, you get a Scully. I joke. But they brought in 4 different guys from the transfer portal that all could be a starting option in this offense. Let's start with Rashad Amos. He's the former Miami of Ohio stud who comes in with 1,075 rushing yards and 13 touchdowns in 2023 year of our Lord. And he's proven at the G5 level already that he can bring power, vision, and red zone finishing more than anything. 13 touchdowns in 2023. He's quiet in 2024, but he's coming in and he already has production on his resume. That's just one guy. Let's move to the next one. If you're a UGA fan or just a fan of elite prospects or all around the country, then the name Branson Robinson probably rings a bell for you. Not only is this kid rocked up, but he's a Georgia transfer who was recruited by Dell McGee originally. So when people saw, oh my gosh, Branson Robinson decided to come to Georgia State, why would he do that? Because of connections. He's returning to play for a man who first believed in him and brought him to Athens. When you talk about raw strength, SEC level pedigree, he has it. You talk about the culmination of seeing him score in the national championship game. His injuries made his start slow in Athens, but this is all about potential and what he could be in this offense with a coach that believed in him, recruited him to Athens, and now that same coach is now at Georgia State. I hope these pieces that I'm trying to connect are, making sense for you. Let's move on. DJ Braswell, a versatile back out of South Carolina with speed that's going to test the edges. He has that wiggle in space. You make a man hit him with a... He can do that. That's DJ Braswell for you. He probably has, outside of the freshman, he probably got that wiggle stick. Like he playing college football 26, just hitting a juke move out of nowhere. That's him. That's DJ Braswell. He is looking to come in and push for this rotation and be a part of this committee. People say committees are bad things. Nah, a committee can be good because we've got all different types of flavors. You never know who you're going to face on the schedule this week. You never know what might be needed or called for in order to get the dub. DJ Braswell fits this bill because he can stretch vertically. He can have that wiggle in space that you make a man miss. He got that. And then you look at another player coming in who was a late ad from Ole Miss who rushed for 664 yards at Akron last year. Plug and play back with low center of gravity. When you talk about this core of what we need, they got gravity, burst, acceleration, strength, muscles, pop, physicality. I mean, y'all not convinced yet? If you just look at the core four transfer portal guys that I just talked to you about, they give GSU everything that they did not have last year. When you look at the times that GSU was the most successful in 2023, it was when 2024, it was when they were running the football. Georgia State was dominant when we ran the football. Look at the Texas State game where Freddie Brock went loose. The running backs got active. The offense looked explosive at the end of the season. But what started the catalyst for it? Running the gosh darn football. Short yardage power, edge speed, third down pass pro, a change of pace threats. They have that now. Last year, they struggled because they got behind the sticks over and over and over again. They got behind in the scoreboard over and over again. It's hard to run a rock when you down 14-0. You just blinked. It's hard to run a rock when your first possession, you turn the ball over because of a fumble or a pick or whatever the case may be. And now you're down. Offense on the other side is driving. And our whole game plan and game script just tossed out the window, just act like it's not there no more. But I'm here to tell you that there's hope, Panthers fans. There's hope. Why? Look, we got a freshman coming in, two of them boys, that got juice, that know how to get active, and they have high school resumes that can make a grown man cry. They have the ultimate upside in this running back room. And if you looking for somebody to push, looking no further than Tawan Payton and LaDainian Martin. Remember the names I tell you. Remember. Both of these guys were handpicked by Dale McGee and running backs coach Enrique Davis. The reason why Enrique Davis matters so much in this conversation is because he is bringing all of us together. He just came into Georgia State staff in 2005 in January. Fresh out. Now he's here coming from Ole Miss, where he served as an analyst. He played a critical role in recruiting, on-field instruction. He did it. He served as a running backs coach for Western Kentucky in January 2022. And prior to that, he was at McMurray University, where he had the Warhawks' top 3 running backs, Cameron Session, D. Robinson, and Aeneas Gray, combining for 1,000+ yards on 225 carries. Like, come on, bro. During the summer of 2021, he worked with the New York Jets as offensive quality control while helping the tight ends and special teams during preseason camp. He's been in the NFL with the Jets. He's been in the lower levels at the University of West Georgia from 2018 to 2020. Under legendary coach David Dean, that you can't put a price tag on the amount of experience and life lessons, even as a man, as a father, as a coach, that you can get from Coach David Dean. He coached at Morehouse College. He knows what HBCU life is like from 2017 to 2018. He was a head football coach at Renaissance Christian Academy from 2013 to 2016. Why am I giving you his bio? Because you need to be very familiar, because when this whole experiment pops off, Coach Enrique Davis, hey, what's up, Coach? Hey, what's up, my dog? Coach Enrique not going to be here for long, because the way that things is looking right now, Georgia State going to be running the ball heavily. Heavily in 2025. Why are you talking about this, Moon? Why would we care about Georgia State? You need to care, because beyond the transfer portal people that we have coming in, beyond the freshman talent with LaDainian Martin and Tawan Payton, if I showed you Tawan Payton's highlight tape, it literally could make you cry. 1, tears of joy, because how is he so good? 2, tears of sadness for the defenders that he consistently torches. LaDainian Martin is the definition of a player that could be a workhorse and just get stronger and stronger as the game goes on. With this many mouths to feed, Coach McGee is saying we're not going to be empty in the cupboard like last year, because, injuries happen, players get nicked up and banged up. We're going to be able to have whatever skill set that we need come in. Now, key departures. Freddie Brock is a big departure, because he had 819 yards and 8 touchdowns. He was the workhorse, and now he's gone to Stillwater. Michael Dukes, he graduated. Shout out to Mike graduating. 365 yards, 354 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. He was a sneaky, versatile weapon in 2024, especially when they leaned into him. But he's not there no more. He's graduated. They carried GSU's backfield load, and it was simply not enough. And Coach McGee said, you know what? This is what went wrong. We had some early flashes, but we finished 3rd worst in the Sun Belt in rushing yards per game at 133 rushing yards per game. That's not cutting it at all. At all, especially when our quarterback position is still shaking out. That's not cutting it. The offensive line struggled, plain and simple. They got bullied in certain occasions. And then when you talk about the teams that took Georgia State's lunch money in 2024, just running the football on him, it had to just seep through the mind of Dale McGee when he's sleeping at night. Georgia Southern and Jalen White and OJ Arnold just running up the score on you in the Georgia Gone Bowl. Or you have to deal with Marshall and AJ Turner going for 200 yards while I watched him on the field on the CFB Nation tour. They got torched. AJ Turner played so good, I wanted to go home and play a Marshall dynasty because this kid was so good. Did I do it? Nope. AJ Turner has since taken his talents to Minnesota. But my point is, no matter how you slice it, you look up and down the schedule, even Vanderbilt game, you get outrushed. That's not going to be the case anymore in 2025. I'm telling you before the season gets started, this is a complete system reset for us. We have options on options. You want to wear the rollie? Go get the rollie. You want to wear the big ice? Go get the big ice. You want to put the chain on? You want to get some Balenci? They got options in the vault now. There's no more looking at it like, you ever open up the refrigerator and there was nothing in the refrigerator, and then you keep opening it thinking that magically like we eating Lucky Charms or something and magically delicious, like something is just gonna pop up in the refrigerator. That's what Georgia State had to deal with in 2024. This year, oh baby, we got that food stamps money. We got that Sam's Club grocery list. We bought in bulk. That's what the plan is in 2025. I promise. And under Coach McGee and Coach Enrique Davis, they have choices. Other teams might look at that as a bad problem. For what we had to endure in 2024, this is an amazing problem to have, because you can have a true running back by committee. You can have situational specialization, i.e. a third down running back, a red zone bruiser that comes in for you, somebody that I need to take the top off like Tawan Payton, somebody that can make a man miss with a little wiggle sticks like my guy DJ Braswell. So the days of Freddie Brock are gone, and the days of Michael Dukes is gone. We applaud them and we thank them for their service as Panthers. But at the end of the day, this is a constant push for fresh legs in live matchups in real time that we're going to be able to interchange constantly. So don't be surprised if this running back room and who is number one changes on a week-to-week basis. You have to know this. But don't also be surprised whoever that running back one is gets hot, and then defenses across the Sun Belt, and whoever has to play Georgia State week 1. I ain't gonna say no names. Oh, miss. Better watch out. Better not cry. I'm telling you why. This is the deepest Georgia State backfield ever. Oh, man. Whether it's Amos just trucking through defenders or Branson Robertson breaking out in his first year with his coach that believes in him, or Simmons delivering consistency for you, Braswell adding a little for you, Tawan Payton hitting his head on a goalpost, LaDainian Martin coming in with speed. This is just the running back room. So when people tell me that Georgia State don't have talent, I'm looking at you like, what you talking about, bruh? You watch ball? What you talking about, bruh? The Sun Belt should be on notice. The offensive line is taking steps up in growth over the course of this offseason. It ain't perfect by any stretch, but one thing you have to know in 2025, year of our Lord, that Georgia State, God is my witness. I put my right hand up and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me, my Lord and Savior. Georgia State is going to be running the gosh darn football in 2025, and the rest of the Sun Belt should be on notice and should be scared, because when you got to tackle this team, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. When you talk about a team that actually wants to control the rock, it's going to be tough. And if you have a team that's on their schedule, you better ice up. What they say? Ice up, son. That's what it's going to be like. This is your boy Moon, and this is everything you need to know on the World of CFB about Georgia State and what they got cooking up in their running back room, because Dale McGee's of infinity, his love is at the running back room. You mix in a growing and ascending coach in Enrique Davis, who's been waiting his turn to get it popping with his best group of guys that makes him excited and charged up to go to work every single day. Bro, the future is so bright in Georgia State. It's not about replacing Freddie Brock. It's about raising the bar, raising the standard. In Georgia State in 2025, that standard is raised.
Mr. Gary.
I love you, and I do this for you.
Nah, not yet. Not yet.
Hey, but when that check hit, that NIL check hit, baby.
Oh my God.
We going to Applebee's and Chili's. Same night.
Crazy, dog. You know, Arizona State. You find me on Instagram, Twitter, 100-yard landlord. 100-yard landlord.
Appreciate you talking to me, man. This is the world of college football. Come on, say what's up to the camera. Say what's up to the camera. Tell them that Sawyer Robinson should be Heisman 2025. Tell them we on the campaign. We walking in Waco, right?
The world of college football. I see you rocking the stash, man. It's looking good, chat.
We're here with Travers Family Football head coach Justin Wilcox. I'm trying to get swole like this dude. Welcome to the World of College Football, hosted by me, Moon, credentialed media member of DCFB Nation, a tour of the college football world, and only a small sliver of the CFB Nation team that's been keeping you up to date throughout this whole offseason on the world of college football. On this show, we spotlight everybody. So no matter if you lace them up in D2, D3, NAIA, no matter if you play in the Power 4, Power 2, college football playoff, FCS playoffs, we're going to make sure you get love and make sure you get attention on this show. Because there's ballers and shot callers everywhere. It's just our job to pay attention to it. Because it's not like, they ain't out here hooping. It ain't like they ain't out here cashing out. We just got to pay attention. And we help put spotlight so you don't have to worry about nothing. All you got to do is just tune into the show. Hopefully, over the course of this episode, you learned something new, whether it was about Nebraska, whether it was about my preseason All-Big 12 list, about Georgia State in their running back room that's coming for dominance in 2025 year of our Lord, and Coach McGee and what he's building at Georgia State, or me being in a docu-series with the Georgia State Panthers in their in-season documentary. Thank you, Georgia State. I appreciate you, bro. You're going to make a grown man cry. This is what happens in the world of college football. Let's continue the show because we got one more segment to get into. FCS preseason polls are here. And man, we got some shakers. North Dakota State won the title last year, but they also reset the standard for us. And now the Bison are back at the top of the stats perform in AFCA coaches poll in the FCS preseason polls heading into 2025 year of our Lord with the vice grip. I mean, just choking it. Number one spot. You can't get out of here. All signs are pointing towards another title run in Fargo. The people out in Fargo are expecting the title run. Do you know that North Dakota State got 54 first place votes? That's insane to think about. They returned 12 starters, and they have one goal. Run that thing back. Let's repeat. They claim 54 of the 56 first place votes in the media poll in a clean sweep. 26 out of 26 in the coaches poll, which means all the coaches looked at them and said, yep, they're the best team. All the media, besides two people, basically said, yep, they're the best team. They finished 14-2 in 2024. They have a national title to show for it. 12 returning starters. And this gives North Dakota State University one of the deepest rosters in the entire FCS. You got a veteran defense that's looking to cash out. Better believe they are. A clock-killing run game that's going to make it incredibly tough to get the ball out of their possession. And the same Bison brutality that we've seen for over a decade plus. They are definitely a team that you have to pay attention to in the FCS world. But it doesn't just stop with them. We got Montana State, who is reloading, and they have vengeance on their mind. They were last year's runner-up, and they got a record of 15-1. Mind-blowing that Montana State could finish and sit firmly at number 2 in both the coaches poll and the media poll. But what I'm here to tell you is you can look at that number 2 ranking, but the thing that you're going to miss is the fact that they were one play away from the trophy, bro. They could have been the number 1 team. One play away. A missed tackle here, a missed assignment there. They're the number 1 team. they return about as equivalent as production, just like North Dakota State does. And they are trying to challenge North Dakota State. Creme de la creme, it's going to be a matchup. The Bobcats, they got one thing on their mind, and it probably is not even perfection at this point. And it's not even just respect. And then slipped right when you get to the peak. Man, that has to sting. And they're coming out for all the smoke in 2025. Let's see. Oh, Lord. Missouri Valley is flexing his muscles again. Flexing, balling, flexing. 4 of the top 6 teams in the Stats Perform poll hail from the Missouri Valley Football Conference. This is the deepest league in the FCS. I mean, outside of the SWAC. Number 3, South Dakota State. They went 12-3. They are a perennial power, and they are still packed. They're going to be packing a punch this year. The Jackrabbits, they might have lost their quarterback to Iowa and everything, but they know how to reload. South Dakota, 11-3 last year. One of just 2 schools to earn a first place vote, so they got some recognition for first place. That means the media and the coaches is looking at them, well, not the coaches, but the media is looking at them like, hey, what could be at South Dakota? They ranked number 4 in these polls. Illinois State, they went 10-4. They are climbing fast, hitting on all the markets that you need, and they are stocked with players that know how to get active, that are playmakers, and they have breakout potential just all over them. Then you have number 20, Southern Illinois. They are under a surprise resurgence after a 4-8 campaign. And what this is meaning to me is that the Missouri Valley is about to be flexing, balling all year in 2025. It's a loaded conference, but this is nothing new for real, because this is as usual or as expected. You know what I mean? Let's keep it moving. Teams that's climbing fast at the top: Tarleton State, Lehigh, and Sacramento State. Now I know Sacramento State got their own issues going on right now trying to get FBS eligibility. However, they were 3-9 last year, but voters put them at number 15 in the media poll and number 14 in the coaches poll. Based on returning talent, a strong transfer portal haul that came in, Sacramento State, they gonna be good this year, better than what they were last year. Lehigh, they're soaring from number 14 to number 15 in the polls with 9 wins, a loaded offense returning with them, a defense that's been hitting strides out there in fall camp, bringing it all together out there in Lehigh. We've been seeing you. They are trying to make some noise this year. They're coming in at number 14 in the polls and number 15 in the coaches poll. Tarleton State, they leapt to number 10 in the media poll and all the way up to number 8 in the coaches poll. They went 10-4 last year. This team could have easily had 12 wins. 12 wins. If they could have got it together, bro, 12 wins easily. FCS football's Texas threat is real. And Tarleton State, they out here trying to take people's lunch money in 2025 in the FCS. Then you had the surprises in the droppers. And then what I looked at and said, oh, I got to watch that. Rhode Island and UC Davis, both 11-3 in 2024, land in the top 10, but they start to feel under-respected given their recent resumes of production in the FCS level. They continue to be good. UC Davis is ranked in the top 10 in the polls for real. And you could argue that they should be ranked higher. Mercer and UC Davis face each other in the FCS kickoff in Montgomery, Alabama, and both of them are top 10 teams. Talk about fireworks. But Rhode Island is getting disrespected, in my opinion. They went 11-3 last year. Could have been 12-2. They trying to make deep pushes into the FCS playoffs this year. Idaho, 10-4. They fell outside the top 10 after being a dark horse just a year ago. Things are starting to turn in the right direction for Idaho. We got deeper than just getting 10 wins, but having that be the case consistently, year in, year out, year in, year out, we know what to expect for Idaho. But the team that I want to talk about the most, I love, the Jackson State University, the only HBCU to be ranked in the FCS polls. They came in at number 17 in both the coaches and the media polls. They are dangerous. Probably a lot of people's pick for the SWAC championship. TC Taylor, coach, championship winning TC Taylor is rebuilding after the Coach Prime era. The name Coach Prime doesn't even ring bells right now no more in Jackson State. All they care about is TC Taylor. And in their opinion, he is head honcho. He is the savior. He is the one that is not going to leave us after a Celebration Bowl. He ain't going to leave us to try to chase another job. I feel like he was meant to be at Jackson State. He has history at Jackson State. And I love. They are 17 in both polls, the highest HBCU. That is something that I saw, and I was like, there's only one HBCU that got ranked. Either that means that they weight Jackson State heavily over everybody else, or that the rest of the pack and cream of the crop is kind of like muddied and they don't know what's going on. But the SWAC, I can make an argument in 2024. SWAC was like Jackson State's to lose. Southern had a great deal to do with that. Make no mistake. Grambling had a great deal because they got a loss to Jackson State. But the SWAC in 2025 is going to be absolutely filthy, bro. It's going to be competitive from top to bottom because there's so many coaching changes. There's so many different things going on in the conference that you have to pay attention to. So make sure you check out SWAC TV, and so you don't miss any games because it's going to be a movie every week. And then others worth noting. There's Western Carolina, who enters the media poll at number 18. This is their first ranking for the Western Carolina Catamounts since the mid-2000s. I saw Western Carolina at the beginning of the season take NC State all the way to the wire. And if it wasn't for Casey, they would have got a dub out there in NC Wolfpack territory. This team is ascending. 18 in the polls, first time since the mid-2000s. Future is bright for Western Carolina. Also, Northern Arizona and Monmouth ride late season surges into the top 25 because they got popping at the end of the year. It needs to be mentioned, it needs to be stated that both of these programs, Northern Arizona and Monmouth, are coming into the 2025 season riding a high wave right now. And they want to keep the ball rolling. They have talent on both of those rosters. Quarterback situations is playing out perfectly, in my opinion. Defensive line for Monmouth is going to be I think going to be a bright spot for them this year. And then Northern Arizona, can we just get explosion? Continue the explosion. Stony Brook and Stephen F. Austin, they are sneaking into the top 25 polls after big off seasons of just bringing in talent, securing a bag, and not just the bag in terms of money, but as far as talent acquisition, knowing who you need to bring on your roster, who to pair with what our coaching staff is. Both of these programs did it, and they seem like they did it flawlessly, even though they didn't have the biggest pool or the biggest sample size to choose from. Stephen F. Austin is trying to be a powerhouse in the state of Texas, 100%. And Stony Brook, they're trying to handle business up there and make sure that their name is synonymous with top 25 polls. They want that to be a regular thing. And then the team that's on your screen, Tennessee Tech, they ranked in the top 25 for the first time in a decade. Clap it up, bro. Clap it up. These are the stories that I want to hear about. These are the moments that I look at in the schedule and I'm saying, yo, this team, we're going to have to watch them, pay attention to them a little bit more. Other teams and schools that got votes in this top 25 poll, that you need to pay attention to in 2025. Harvard, definitely need to pay attention to Harvard. 100%. South Carolina State, they just lost in the Celebration Bowl. You better believe that revenge is on their mind coming out of the MEAC conference. Chattanooga, I saw Chattanooga last year. Come to Georgia State, so I got a chance to see them up close and personal. I'm expecting big things from Chattanooga. They have a lot of bright spots on their team. They have to replace some talent for sure. Every team does, but I trust their coaching staff and I trust what their blueprint and DNA already is. In North Dakota, all of these teams that I just mentioned are very much so capable of a playoff push, bro. They're capable of a playoff push and taking it all the way. Now, when you look at the cream of the crop, it all starts with a team in North Dakota State that's going to get all the love, all the fanfare. And I mean, quite frankly, the media said outside of two people, they're going to get all my votes. The coaches poll said every single 26 of these votes are going to North Dakota State. That is nasty work, but it's showcasing to you that they feel like they are the creme de la creme of this FCS world of college football. But they are the hunted right now. This field that we just discussed is deeper, meaner, and more volatile than last year. 100%. And your boy Moon is keeping track of it all on the world of college football. This is the world of CFB. I appreciate you tuning in to today's show. If you're listening through audio variations, through Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all the other lovely platforms that host World of College Football, we greatly appreciate you. Make sure you hit that rating. We'd love to know how you feel about the podcast and our coverage of the sport. If you're watching through Twitter, whether YouTube, leave a comment, drop a like if you actually like it. And also hit that subscribe button. If you're on Twitter, hit that retweet button. One retweet can turn a college football fan, a regular person, into a college football fan. We got all the casuals coming back, so we got to get this content out. And we talked about a lot on this episode. So we greatly appreciate you, the audience, the people that's soaking in the content, for staying and watching. If you listened throughout this whole time, hear me stumble over a couple of words here and there, or go super passionate about Nebraska and Georgia State, I appreciate you. If you listening through, and watching through YouTube or Twitter, you saw my big head cook up for the last 2 hours. Hey, I appreciate you greatly. And then also special shout out to our sponsors, BetUS, Bull Rush. Thank you. Special shout out to CFB Nation. We greatly appreciate you. And if you want to follow more of the content, connect with me outside of here, all you got to do is check into Twitter at CFB Moon on Twitter. The CFB Moon is right down below. We'll love to interact with you. Check out DCFB Nation on Twitter. We're going to keep you locked and loaded as this college football season kicks off. And the most important thing that I could probably tell you, beyond just a follow of me, check out our website. Check out our website, thecfbnation.com. I'm telling you, you probably got the sexiest website known to man in the college football world. And a lot of people don't even know it exists. Check it out. We keep you locked and loaded from FCS, D2, FBS, ACC, Big 12, Mountain West. You name it, we probably cover it. Chances are very, very high. For another jam-packed episode on Monday, August the 18th, 2025, year of our Lord, I send y'all off into y'all day. Make it a great one. Do something nice for somebody. You never know how you could change their life and be a potent, impactful force in their life. Hopefully this show is impactful for you. For your boy Moon, I send you all, bro. Have a great one. Oh, I'm about to change my outro video. Let's make it this one. I gotta make it the new one. This is the world of CFB. And until next time, tomorrow's episode, in this wonderful and wacky world of college football that's full of have and have nots, there's a lot of teams that's shaking and moving, excited to get the season started. It kicked off all across the country. Shoulder pads are starting to get refined. Cleats are starting to hit the ground, and college football is finally here. After waiting months in the state of limbo, college football is finally here. Just bask in that for a second. Don't it feel good? Don't it feel good? This is the world of CFB. And until next time, stay wavy, my friend.
Mr. Gary.
I love you, and I do this for you.
Nah, not yet. Not yet.
Hey, but when that check hit, that NIL check hit, baby.
Oh my God.
We going to Applebee's and Chili's. Same night.
Crazy, dog. You know, Arizona State. You find me on Instagram, Twitter, 100-yard landlord. 100-yard landlord.
Appreciate you talking to me, man. This is the world of college football. Come, say what's up to the camera. Say what's up to the camera. Tell them that Sawyer Robinson should be Heisman 2025. Tell them we on the campaign. We walking in Waco, right?
The world of college football. I see you rocking the stash, man. It's looking good. Looking good, Zach.
We're here with Travers Family Football head coach Justin Wilcox. I'm trying to get swole like this dude.